Welcome to another informative episode of ButchCrafting with your favorite homo. Grab your tool belt, strap it on, and settle in. We're going to learn some shit together. Here you go.
Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of ButchCrafting. The first couple of episodes that we've done was on water, which is probably the most important thing that you need whenever you're in a either a homesteading situation, an emergency situation, a prepper situation. You know, you got to make sure that you've got water, food, and shelter covered. So the first two segments that we did were on water. The next at least 2, possibly 3 episodes will be on food, because we all got to eat. And then after that, we'll go over some ideas and things for shelter and things that you might need. So I've done a lot of research, and I hope that you find some of this helpful. I'm sure you will. And if you're interested in prepping and being, you know, self-sustaining and all that good stuff, then obviously, these type of episodes are going to be beneficial for you. But even if you're not, even if you're just like, let's say that you listen to the podcast because you're a gamer, and we've done a lot of gaming episodes. You know, this is still information that you need to just have in the back of your mind, because there's no telling when the next disaster is going to hit, or when you're going to lose water or power or, you know, whatnot. So this is all relevant information that I feel is worth covering. And I hope that you can listen through it, learn something, and then, you know, be prepared and make yourself ready for anything. And, you know, I realize you can't prepare for every situation, but you can certainly have these little tidbits in your mind, and just things to look out for. And the more that you know, the more that you can plan and prepare for such, you know, an issue as to where you would need to have this information or to have the items available for you. When I started researching this episode, I was just kind of curious as to, you know, I've kind of always heard that you can go 4 days without water, 40 days without food, or somewhere around there. Now I realize that every human is different. We, you know, based on our body size and our health and the type of activities that we do. You know, I mean, if you live a sedentary life and you don't have any health issues, and you're not overweight and all that good stuff, then you could probably last a little bit longer. Maybe, I don't know, or maybe having weight on you will help you live a little longer because you're going to have more fat reserves. I'm not 100% sure, but I can tell you that the target is moving all the time. And I researched a lot of different places and tried to get a kind of an accurate answer. And the thing is that there's not an accurate answer. There are some severe cases. And so I looked to the Guinness Book of World Records, which is what you do, you know, when you're like, I wonder how long so-and-so's done this or whatever. So if there was a gentleman from Scotland, and his name was Angus Barbary, and he went without food, but he had liquids, and that included water, tea, and coffee, and he also had an intake of vitamins because he was getting medical attention. So they were monitoring him. He lasted without any food, but with liquids and vitamins. He lasted 283 days, which is insane to me. But, you know, I mean, I'm sure I saw some pictures of him. He lost a ton of weight, as you would expect. But, you know, I mean, that's probably, that's not for everybody. You know, and I'm kind of wondering, like, why did he do that? Why was he trying to go for that record? Is it something that happened on accident because he was sick, or like in a coma, or, which I don't think so, because then he wouldn't get coffee or tea. He would just have like saline fluids and medicines and stuff. So I'm not really sure exactly what was going on with him, but 283 days without food, but he did have water. And then I thought, well, without food and without water, you could probably last about a week, right? I mean, ish. So again, Guinness World Book of Records, also recorded the longest survival time for a person without food and water. So nothing, not even a little bit. And that was 18 days. And I'm going to butcher this person's name. This gentleman was from Austria, and his name was Andreas Mihevec. I'm not sure. I'm sorry if I did butcher that. My apologies. But so he was in a car accident, and the police had to figure out what exactly happened. And this was in 1979. And so they took both people and they put them in a government building. They literally forgot that he was there. And when they finally remembered him, it was 18 days later, and he was knocking on death's door. He did not survive. Could you imagine? I mean, where the fuck did they put this person where they didn't know that he was there? They couldn't hear him. I'm sure he was screaming. You know, I don't think that, I mean, if it were me, I wouldn't be like, oh, well, darn, I guess I'm in this room and I shouldn't probably make any sounds. I don't want to be rude or anything. I would be fucking it up, like for real. So yeah, 18 days without food or water. That was the Guinness World Book record, which blows my mind. So then I started thinking, well, how many calories does the average person need? And when I say average person, it's just that. I mean, everybody, like I said, is different, right? So you've got health issues play a part, the size of your body, how big your frame is, what type of lifestyle you live. If you're out chopping wood all day, you're probably going to need way more calories than what this says, which is 2,000 to 2,400 calories per day. So if you're more active, you're going to need more calories, obviously. I have friends that used to do this diet, and they were like, yeah, I lost so much weight in such a short amount of time. And I'm like, well, what are you doing? And they were saying, we're doing this diet where you can only eat 1,000 calories a day. And I'm like, at some point, your brain is going to stop functioning the way that it needs to. Because it feeds on, is it ketones? Hang on, let me see if I can't remember what it is, but there's something that, I think it's ketones that your body starts to break down and to use as fuel. And because that can go past the blood-brain barrier, then it can help sustain your brain. But I mean, to do that on purpose for a lengthy period of time, I'm like, guys, this isn't healthy. I'm like, are you sure that you need to be doing this? And these girls played roller derby. I mean, they were busting ass on the track. I mean, 1,000, no, don't do that. Crazy. So yeah, apparently you need anywhere from 2,000 to 2,400 or more, depending on how active you are. So let's talk about different options that you would have if the shit were to hit the fan, or if you just wanted to prepare for a shit hit the fan situation, or, you know, let's say that your power is out. Like in Texas, a couple of years back, we had an ice storm and our power was out for like 6 days and people were freaking out. And I was like, y'all, I mean, seriously, can you not pick up a couple of canned goods every time that you go to the grocery store, just a couple of extra. I'm not asking you to go out and buy a truckload of shit, but if you can buy an extra bag of rice, or, some canned beans or something, anything to help. How sad would it be if you're in the house and the power goes out and it stays out, and you're like, we don't even fucking know what's going on. We have no idea. So I wondered, how long would food in your refrigerator and in your freezer last? Because that would tell you how much time you've got in order to consume it, or let it go to waste. So in your freezer storage, a full freezer can keep food safe for about 48 hours. And then a half full freezer is about half that, so 24 hours. Now, if you're in a hot climate, and you're opening it, you're going to lose that faster. It's going to thaw out faster. If you live in Alaska or Minnesota or, Canada, put your shit outside. I mean, if it's that or starve, oh, okay. Well, I guess I'm taking my chances and I'm going to put it outside. With refrigerator storage, if you keep the door closed, your food can be safe in the refrigerator for about 4 hours. Again, if you're opening it and shutting it and opening it and shutting, and you live in a warmer climate, it's going to go fast. It's going to go, bad faster. And they say that the way that you can tell that your food is going bad or has gone bad is if it's slimy or moldy, or has an odor that is a little off. Maybe it doesn't, you know what cheese smells like if you eat cheese a lot, then, or, fruit or whatever. You're going to know if it kind of tastes funny. And I would suggest that if it seems like it does taste, or not taste, wow, that if it smells a little funny and it's mushy and it's kind of got some funk on it and it's slimy, probably don't eat it, just to be safe. Because what would be worse than not having any food? That would be not having any food because you ate the last of it and it was rotten, and then you've got fucking gut rot. That would suck. Actually, I guess technically that would blow right out of your ass. So I don't suggest it. Now, thinking about, what you would do for food in a survival situation, or in a situation where you're on the run, you don't have access to what's in your house as far as pantry goods, or perhaps canning, stuff like that. MREs, which stands for meals ready to eat, they were first used, they were called trench rations, and they were used in World War I. And it's so the guys in the trenches, they would have something to eat, and they wouldn't have to prepare it, because you're not going to have anything to prepare it with, right? In 1975, the Department of Defense, adopted the MRE name, and MREs are, they're designed to extend storage for food, and then also make it easy for preparation, because there really isn't any. You just open it up and you chow down. They're shelf stable more so than fresh food, but they don't last all that long. If I'm thinking correctly, they're going to last usually around 4 to 5 years, as long as the container remains sealed. Now, how many calories are in an MRE? Usually there's about 1,250 to 1,500 calories in an MRE, and that primarily consists of carbs, fat, and protein. And it's broken down like this: 51% carbs, 36% fat, and 13% protein. Being that it is so dense, it can cause, well, it is dense. It's not really something that you would want to enjoy all the time. The texture is dense in a lot of these foods that are MREs. You wouldn't want to eat it long term, I don't think. And it can actually cause constipation due to a lack of good bacteria that's needed for gut health. So yes, MREs are an option, but with technology, we've kind of graduated past that, unless you're just a glutton for punishment, or, you were served in a war and you're like, I'm fucking used to it, I'm going to do it. You got an iron gut, go ahead, have at it. Nowadays, they have actual emergency survival food kits, and water is needed for most of these options in the emergency survival food kits. It's kind of like you add water and poof, you've got a meal. And, I've tried some of them. I used to kayak a lot, and we had a jet stove, and we would bring it and make meals on riverbanks. And, it was really easy, compact, and it was really fucking good. I mean, the times that I've had it, it's been like pasta based, just because it fills you up and it's hearty, and, it's a hot meal. So that's awesome. Whenever you kayak 10 miles and you take a break for lunch, it's pretty awesome that you don't have to just eat like a package of crackers and a smushed peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Although smushed peanut butter and jelly sandwiches are the bomb. I've done some research on emergency survival food suppliers, and my favorite one is called My Patriot Supply, and their website is mypatriotsupply.com. It's probably the best option out there. Their shelf life is up to 25 years. Their food is fortified with vitamins and minerals, which is great because as these foods are dried, they may lose some of the vital minerals and vitamins that are needed to help sustain health. Also, they have gluten-free and vegan options, which is fantastic if you or some of your family have issues, especially if they're children. Because the last thing that you need whenever you're in a stressed out situation, because there's either no power, no water, or, no power, and you've got a limited amount of water, the last thing that you want to do to your gluten sensitive child is to give them something that's not gluten free. And I realize that's a luxury at that point, but there's nothing worse than a kid that doesn't feel good, especially whenever you're trying to make provisions and get a plan together and you're trying to survive yourself. If you can do anything to help your children through that time, because they're already going to be emotionally and physically stressed. So, maybe it's worth getting a couple of gluten-free options and just having that on standby for them in case something were to happen. It's not a requirement. I mean, if it's going to be they eat gluten or they starve to death, you're going to feed them gluten because you want them to survive. But if you can make it easy and you're preparing ahead of time and you're preparing for yourself, then you also kind of want to take care of the people that are in your company, your family. They also have coffee, powdered whey milk. They have lots of different options for foods. I mean, there's pasta. I can't even tell you everything that they have. I mean, they have so many different options. And what's great about that is that you're not going to get burnt out on eating the same meals over and over and over. Like if you had an MRE, there's only so many combinations that they're going to make in that. But with this, they even have breakfast options. So you can have oatmeal one day, you can have bacon and eggs the next day, and yeah, it's powdered and dehydrated and all that good stuff. But you put some water in it and I mean, it's edible. I would say probably it's better than prison food. I mean, I don't know. I've not been to prison yet, unless I have to retire in prison. But we've talked about that on pod. I'm actually not going to prison for retirement, just so you know. It's a joke, but it's a viable option should the shit really hit the fan. But so, and they even have dessert options like chocolate pudding. What did they have? Bread pudding, chocolate pudding, and banana chips. I could fuck up some chocolate pudding with some banana chips in it. You know what I'm saying? Somebody's birthday, boom, there you go. Happy birthday. Sorry about starving to death, but here's you a dessert. Get one of those waterproof matches and put that on top of it as a candle. You're in business right there. Shoot. So this is certainly a much better tasting option than an MRE. And it lasts longer than an MRE because these will last up to 25 years versus 4 to 5 years for an MRE. But the cons on this one is that they're expensive. And they're expensive because they can be. And these companies know it. You can probably get MREs cheaper. But given the choice, if you have the option, you're going to want something that's going to taste a little bit better. I would say that it's probably worth to have some on hand if you wanted like a year's supply of food, but it's going to cost you an arm and a leg. Now, if you did get a year's supply, then what you could do is start growing your own food and help supplement that, like use those meals sparingly to help them go a long way. Hopefully you're in a situation where you can start growing food after an emergency situation, or start growing food now and then learn how to do canning and preservation. So, if you wanted to stock up on water, they actually sell emergency water as well. And you can get it in their little packets. They're like pouches of water. If you don't have access to clean water, or if you just want to have some water on hand in case you need to, have water to wash out wounds or whatnot. They also have ration bars. It's kind of like a brick of calories and nutrients. They have mypatriotsupply.com also has chewable energy food supplement tablets. They look like a brown chewable pill. I mean, I can't imagine sitting down and thinking, gonna have a meal and pop one of those. But if I'm starving, then I'm gonna probably do that. They also have solar power and energy cooking equipments like rocket stoves, water filtration. They have what is it called? The heirloom seed packs. So you can buy seeds from them and keep like a seed bank. So in case you need to have a backup, then you have it there. And they also sell sprouting seeds and microgreen kits. And you can grow microgreens like within 7 days and have fresh greens that are highly dense in nutrients, which is awesome. So aside from all of that, they also have a selection of solar generators, expansion, battery kits, survival gear, medical kits, emergency lighting solutions, and reference books, which is really cool. It's definitely worth taking a look at. The website is mypatriotsupply.com. And even if you can't afford the items, I would say definitely go and check them out because their stuff is pretty impressive. Their selection is impressive and everything is laid out very well. And it will give you ideas of what you might need in a survival situation or a prepping situation that you might not have thought about. So definitely go and check them out. I was perusing their website and I am drooling over their waterproof EMF Faraday backpack. It's so cool. I mean, I'm telling you, I could go broke on this website within 10 minutes. Not a problem, like easy. Something else that I think that you should consider, if you haven't already been doing this, it's certainly not going to hurt. Every time that you go to the grocery store, please pick up a couple of extra canned goods, be it canned vegetables, canned fruit, canned meats, and just start putting back a couple of cans every time that you go to the grocery store. I would say probably if you can do 2 to 3 cans per person in your house, great, do that. that means that you'll have a backup in case, something were to happen and you have a food shortage, or if prices of groceries get so expensive that you just can't afford it. Like you don't have to suffer if you plan ahead. Some other things. Oh, and y'all, please. I know that a lot of y'all have like the electric can openers, and that's super good, or like the battery can openers. If you have a solar battery charging station, great, fine, go with it. But have a manual can opener, please, because how bad would it suck to be like, I am so hungry, but I can't get into this motherfucking thing. And then when you do get into it, hacking it to death, you got little metal pieces in there, and that's going to go through your system and just fuck you up. So do yourself a favor and buy yourself a manual can opener. Fuck. Buy your friend one too. Just pick a friend and buy them one too. And if they already have one, then tell them to gift it to somebody else. Why not, right? But you can also get things like beans, rice, pasta, nuts, and seeds. Honey, which is a forever food. Peanut butter, powdered milk, coffee, dried soup mixes and other dried foods like fruits, veggies, and dehydrated meats, kind of like jerky. Now, some of this stuff is expensive. Like, for instance, beef jerky, if you go and buy it in the store, it's expensive as shit. So if that's not something that you want to do, we're going to talk about smokers and dehydrators in just a little bit. So sit tight. So non-perishable foods is what you're going to want to look for, and keep yourself a healthy stockpile of that, so that whenever you run out of foods in the refrigerator or they expire and your foods in the freezer or have expired or whatnot, that way you have something to fall back on. Talking about solar cookers, like a sun convection, it's going to, they're anywhere from like $300 to all the way up to like $700. I mean, you can get a really good one for about $500. It's an investment, but think about it. If you don't have any gas, if you don't have any electricity, and you have food that needs to be cooked, you're going to let it go to waste, or are you going to try to make something? They do have DIY instructions online. Just go to whatever browser you use and look for DIY solar cookers, DIY food dehydrators. I have a dehydrator that is, you plug in. I use the damn thing all the time. I mean, I love it. I just try to use it as much as possible. Cause it's gonna pay off, I even make almond flour with it. I make my own almond milk from organic almonds that I ship in from California. And I've got a stockpile of almonds, and whenever I need milk, I make the almond milk, and it's just almonds and water. There's no sweetener. There's no preservatives or anything like that. I make it small batches at a time. And the remnants is kind of like a ground pulp, almond pulp. Well, if I take that and I put it in the dehydrator and I dry it out for like 14 hours or so, it turns it into what I would use for almond flour. Sometimes it's a little, hard and like in chunks, and you got to kind of break it up and stuff like that. But it's doable. I mean, I've got a mortar and pestle. I'm not afraid of hard work, so I'll get after it. Or I'll put it in a blender and, make it smooth that way. But I use that for baking, and I also use it whenever I make my dogs treats, because yes, I'm that bitch. I make my dogs their own organic treats. And it's usually specialized for whatever needs they have. Like, for instance, you got a dog that scoots their butt on the floor because they have their anal glands get filled up. I know that we're talking about food and this is gross, but I put psyllium husk in her treats. And so it helps her not scoot her butt against the floor. And then I had a dog that we just recently lost. She had a really bad arthritis. So I would put in herbs that would help with her arthritis. I also make calming treats because I have a beagle. They're high strung, very anxious dogs. Whenever there's storms or whenever there's fireworks, or God forbid she has to get in the fucking car. Y'all, worse than a cat. She just, oh my God, it'll make you want to crash. So you just give her a couple of calming treats and she's good to go. But I can make those without having to buy the flour, because why would I if I can just use what I have? I try to use up as much of an item as I can and think about it in a smart way so that I can conserve. So that's what I use my dehydrator for. I will be making a solar dehydrator just so that when and if the shit hits the fan, or if I just want to fuck around and play with it, I can actually go and dehydrate some stuff and see what works and see what doesn't. I mean, right? If you're going to make it, then use it and get good at it so that when you need it for survival purposes, it's there and you already know how to use it. Something else is freeze-dried foods. That's such a good option, because freeze-dried foods will last you for up to 30 years. That's more than the emergency survival food kits. Those can last you up to 25 years. But freeze-drying foods, if you package it correctly, they can last for up to 30 years. I mean, my God, right? I mean, that's awesome. So fruits, vegetables, meats, whatever. Fucking, I don't know. I'm sure that there's tons of things that you can do. I don't have a freeze dryer. I want one real bad. And it's going to cost anywhere from like $300 to $500. So it's definitely an investment, but think about in the long run, how much money it's going to save you if you're actively using it, and then the other thing is, either you can buy a smoker or you can make a smoker. And I saw these, just go Google it. DIY smokers. On Homestead Rescue, for instance, they made this smoker with, it's what do they call it? A whiskey barrel. So like the keg, they just made it. They opened it up. They put racks in it. They start a little fire thing down at the bottom, and it all is buttoned up and it smokes. And these people make jerky now on their homestead, and people come from miles and miles, hundreds of miles away just to get their jerky. They can't even keep it in stock. So, not only is it a viable food source for them, but once they get their stock set, then they can start selling it, and that's making money for the homestead for things that they might need that they can't make or grow or raise, as far as livestock. And so that's it for like preparing food, like stockpiling it or, saving it back. You're going to need to do that with MREs, emergency survival food kits, and perishable, non-perishable foods. Also with dehydrating, you may want to dehydrate some stuff and keep that back, make some jerky, keep that back, air freeze dry some foods. But if you don't have any food like in your refrigerator, all of it went bad or you ate all of it, right? And you don't have anything in your freezer because either it went bad or you ate all of it. The things that you can do immediately in order to feed yourself, because I wouldn't recommend going to a grocery store. Chances are you're not going to make it in there or out of there. And if you do get in there, and people aren't running amok, like losing their fucking minds, then what's going to be left on the shelves? Probably not a whole lot. When people are starving, they will, anything that they can put in their bellies to make them feel full, they're going to get. So your options from that point are foraging or hunting. And for foraging, I would recommend getting a book of foraging in your area, or in the area that you plan to travel to. If you have a plan in place to where you're going to travel a certain amount of miles to get to where's a meetup point or something like that. But you need to know, if you're going to be foraging, what you can eat and what you can't, because, you can pick a bunch of plants and shove them in your mouth. If it just so happens to be hemlock, well, say goodnight, because chances are you're going to be either really sick or you're just going to fucking die. And that's probably not your goal. Now, if you know what hemlock is and you want to end your life because you don't think that you will survive, that's on you. But if you want to survive, you need to be real smart about what you put in your mouth. So there are edible plants and berries, and knowing what you can eat and can't eat is a vital survival skill. There are even some grasses that you can eat raw for their nutrients, but some of those have really fibrous materials, and that can wreak havoc on your GI tract. So, there's some basic ones that, like dandelions. People think it's a weed. And I guess, it could be if that's what you think. But for me, it's medicine and it's a food source. Every part of a dandelion, from the little ball on top to the stem, to the leaves, to the flower, to the root, all the way down to the tap root, you can eat the entire thing and it's good for you. So, knowing what you can and can't eat, you can get some nutrients that you might be lacking. Buy yourself a book. Even if you don't read it right away, fine, just have it. In case you ever need it, you have it. I prefer that you be prepared rather than not be prepared and suffer, because I don't want to see y'all suffer. Now, hunting. Okay, here's the thing. I don't know that I want to kill an animal to eat, but I guess if I had to, if I were starving and there was a chicken, chances are I'm probably going to be eating some chicken. So I haven't gotten a book yet on hunting or butchering, but I probably need to, just in case I'm the only one around with that information. Hopefully by the time that this happens, I'll have somebody in my group that's a hunter, that knows how to field dress an animal, that knows how to preserve it and all that good stuff. But just in case nobody does, I need to be able to wing it. And I don't mean just like blindly wing it, because you could actually get really sick if you don't dress an animal properly or break it down, or, there's some parts of the animals, and I don't know what parts those are, but I do know that if you bust some of the organs, it could be toxic, and I don't want that for me or my family. So I need to really ramp up my literature on that. But if you buy a book, I recommend buying a book on hunting and breaking down an animal and knowing what types of animals are in your area that might be available for hunting. Preparation of hunted animals can be an Achilles heel. If you were to break that one organ or the couple of organs that may end up being toxic, or if you do it wrong, or maybe if they have a disease and you don't recognize it and you eat it, it could hurt you or possibly kill you. And that would not be a fun time. Whenever you're cooking it, which they do suggest that you cook any wild meat, because you're not supposed to eat raw meat. I know that some people do. That's on them, right? But if I want to survive, if I'm going to go through the fucking trouble to make a fire, to try to hide the fire so that I don't get caught, and so that I can, cook the meat and then eat it, I'm not doing it so that I can murder myself. There's a lot of other options that I could try if I wanted to do that. So the purpose of me doing that is to survive by eating meat. Wild meat, if you cook it, or when you cook it, it should be cooked until the juices run clear and the meat is no longer pink inside. And that will reduce the chances of foodborne disease. So tuck that in your hat. Just know it. I probably wouldn't hunt unless I had that knowledge. Because, maybe I would hunt, but then I'd bring it back and I would try to figure out with the literature that I have, what do I need to do and all that good stuff. Is there still a potential for me to get sick? Absolutely. But that's a risk that would be worth taking for me if I were starving. So, gosh, I feel like I've been talking forever. I think that's about it. There's so much more that I want to talk to y'all about food. So I'm going to do a next couple of episodes. It's going to be of ButchCrafting. It's going to be going over things like the different types of gardening preservation of food other than what we've talked about. And I'm talking about like canning options, water glassing, root cellaring, and how to tie in some of the things that we've covered to create a robust homestead in the long term. Because that, for me, that would be my goal. Survive. And while I'm surviving, I need to be working towards sustainability for the future. Hey guys, real quick, I've got to share something with you. So as you may have heard, we are working with a company called Let Us Grow. It's super cute. I love the play on words because it's like let space us space grow, but it's actually lettuce, like you would eat lettuce, grow. Anyway, you can find it on our website. Just go to TheDinosaur&TheDude.com, scroll down just a little bit, and you're going to see this beautiful display of vegetables on this stand. I just got mine, and I am so stoked. I got my farm stand first. I got the one that is, it's pretty large. It holds 36 plants. I got the indoor one because we tried a garden outside with, for lettuce, and I think like rabbits or something ate it all. And it's just easier for me to keep an eye on it, especially, with my health. So, and I got the nutrients, for it. And then I got to go in and I got to order all of the seedlings that, I wanted. And oh my gosh, I mean, they have everything from all sorts of lettuces to everything is edible that they offer. They even offer flowers that are edible. So, I mean, how gorgeous, right? I'm having a dinner and then I just want to like make it nice, or having somebody over for dinner. This is going to be amazing. They've got bok choy. Do you understand how much I love bok choy? We go through it a ton. And this is the gift that keeps on giving, because this is just going to keep going. I mean, it's going to keep growing. We're going to cut it down the lettuce and then it's going to grow. I mean, I've got even some Japanese vegetables in here. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. So y'all, please go check it out. Go to TheDinosaur&TheDude.com, scroll down just a little bit. You're going to see, click on Let Us Grow, and go and take the quiz and all that shit. That's me. Gotta go. Bye. So, okay, I think that's it. I've talked my head off. My gosh. Y'all, have a great day. Take care of each other. Keep your head on a swivel. No matter what happens, we're going to be okay. We just need to be smart, be prepared, be flexible, and keep our eye on the future and the prize, right? I mean, whatever your situation looks like, there's hope. And I've got a lot of it. And I really want the best for all of y'all, which is why I do these ButchCrafting episodes. Now, I will eventually be doing some super fun ones. Like, not that these aren't fun, because hey, surviving, eating, drinking, and having shelter, yeah, that's tits. But, like, I want to go into like basic woodworking and all the fucking homo shit. Like, I just want to do it. It's going to be so much fun. That's why I call it ButchCrafting, because it's all things. Like, I can't wait until I move up north. I'm going to just own a lot of flannel, I think. Anyway, it's going to be fun. And I'll take you on that journey with me too. So, y'all be good. Take care of each other. Be safe. And I will see y'all next time. Talk to you soon. Bye.